I guess we're live.
Hey, we're kind of live.
We live?
Look at
Here, let's push this button. Here, this will be fun. Hang on.
Oh, look, it worked this time.
Now
There
we're
we
official.
go. Now we're live.
Hey, hello, welcome to another episode of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with sculptors, carvers, and multi-talented artists from around the world. If you're a fan of the show and you like what we do, make sure you give us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from.
Absolutely.
Let's meet the artists. Look at this guy. He's a legendary creature effects fabricator and monster maker. It's the foam fabber himself, Mr. Ted Haynes.
Hello, everybody.
Ted.
Hey, Teddy. Good to see you. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Next, he's my good buddy, and he's an amazing artist and sculptor from Tucson, Arizona, and he's also a Halloween Wars finalist, Mr. Matt Harper.
Good.
Hello, Matt.
Howdy.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
My name's Paul Dever. I'm an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts, and our guest tonight is a sculptor, fabricator, and model maker from Los Angeles, California, the conceptual executioner himself, Bruce D. Mitchell.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here, man.
I know.
We're so excited to dig into your stuff. It is like mind blowing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Let's
Conceptual executioner.
be dorks.
That you know what's funny? When I was saying it in my head, conceptual was going to come out so wrong.
Yeah.
And the
Almost.
word that was going to come flying out of my mouth, I was just going to sign off. Like,
Yeah.
ugh, but I got it out. So score
Good
one
work.
for me. That's right. Words 0, Paul 1.
Yeah. Good job.
Bruce, I was
All right,
going to ask you right off to. I mean, we've known each other for a really long time, but when and where did you pick up the handle conceptual executioner?
Oh, I think I didn't have it like when we met. I think it was 2003, and it was at Steve Johnson's on Scooby-Doo 2. I was just mentioning that to Matt, but I think back then I was using the intergalactic kung fu bounty hunter, and then because it's like whenever you'd have your business card, it would say sculpting, mold making, storyboards, drawing, concepts. It was always this list of tasks that you claimed to do. And everybody's was just a little different. So I just came up with like a goofy handle. And then as I got into it, the more we were just making the idea real, I liked the idea of conceptual executioner. And it just sounded, it kind of sounded a little serious and, but a little highbrow. So
There you go.
it's everything I'm not. I needed to put that on a card.
I just wanted to ask that real quick. Paul, do your thing. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I was kind of waiting for the answer myself. I'm glad you asked it. It's
question.
perfect. It's good ones like that don't come around every day. Like
No, it's
Yeah.
a good handle.
the two of you's got good ones. Man, we got to figure something out here.
I know. Mine's a little boring.
Well, all right. So here's what we're going to do on the show. So every week we take a carving challenge, Bruce. And what we like to do before we get into the Bruce Hour is we're going to go back and look at what we did the carve before. So last week,
Sure.
the choice was a flustered aquatic creature.
Mhm.
And that one threw us and flustered us.
Yeah.
But Ted went right for the foam and stayed on point with the pumpkin theme. Like do you have that on a wall, Ted? Like bullet points of what you have to hit? Because I feel like you hit a whole bunch of them whenever you start a project.
No, I don't know. I just, that was, I always write down our prompts on the table next to me. I just changed my table paper. So now all I know is last week's, but, no, I just started, I had a block and I'm going to do foam this week as well. I've got another block. But I just started, and this guy is going to be, it's funny, whenever I do a pumpkin, like out of, foam, I mean, the whole show started because of pumpkins. So I want to stay on task or on theme with pumpkins.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be like a fish, like a pumpkin that is a fish or a fish that is a pumpkin, or, it's not like the original one I did was like a sculpted, like a carved out pumpkin,
Mhm.
Where this one I think is actually going to be like a living or a living fish that looks like a pumpkin.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
That's cool.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then Matt gave me the idea, and I'm going to run with that with using leaves or organic stuff for the flippers, the fins, and the dorsal and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it's going to be done for next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Putting a deadline on it.
That's rapid.
Yeah.
No, I know much goes into that, so that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like he hits his marks fast, whereas sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just scrape at it for an hour and nobody will notice that I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah.
And then Ted's like, this was a huge block of foam 45 minutes ago.
See, I wanted to prove it right here.
Yeah.
This is what I'll start with. There you go.
Future pumpkin.
There you go.
I love it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see it finish too. That's mine.
That's me.
This is great. And you'll see mine. I followed your suit. I love that look on his face, Paul. That's really,
yeah. Well, the problem was that it was a butternut squash. So that's like just about half of it. I ended up just cutting half of it off because it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now, is that the bottom half, or did you lay it down?
No, that is the bottom half. And if you look where it kind of folds under the neck there, that was just about busted through. Like I had to stop putting a little putty and back in there. And I didn't even choose the right side of the squash. I could have chose the solid side, but being what it was.
I love the jowls. I love the jowls.
Totally.
Thank you.
And this was mine. I still had one big pumpkin left. So I went kind of catfish, but man, when I saw yours, I couldn't get it out of my mind, Paul, that grouper looking mouth and stuff like that. So I stayed aquatic and just went tried to make him look a little bit flustered, like what the hell just happened? Kind of look on his face.
Oh, I like the move with the catfish, and then it looks like it's got that leafy dragon, like you know what I'm talking about, a leafy dragon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like those fins.
Yeah, the little flippers. Yeah,
I really wanted them to have it kind of like hands up, like what the fuck, like kind of look like.
He's got that look on his face.
There we go. All right,
mission accomplished.
There we go. Yeah,
mustard.
Put it in the books. We
put it in the books. And on that note, well, it's time to introduce you to the fourth member of Carvers and Creators, responsible for our carving challenges tonight. It is the Center Spinner, the AKA the Wheel, and let's do it. Let's see what happens here.
Let me zoom in on you, Paulie.
Hold on. Holding.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So the wheel. Let me get a little more bright light in there. Okay. So what we're going to do tonight, Bruce, we're going to spin the wheel twice. The first time we spin it is going to be the character we're going to try and carve. The second spin will be the emotion or attribute we have to try to apply to the carve. So tonight's choices are orc, primate, mythical, guest choice, so have one ready, Old West, fantasy animal, Viking, feline, baby, or hillbilly.
Oh boy.
Second choice will be the emotion. It would be terrified, exhausted, distinguished, guest choice once again, crazy, annoyed, excited, furious, sad, or flustered. If it lands on flustered and guest choice again, I'm throwing this wheel away. It's fixed. I don't know how to unfix it.
Clearly broken.
Clearly. All right. Ready? Here we go. It's a hillbilly.
Hillbilly. Oh my God.
Good luck with a hillbilly pumpkin there, Ted.
I can do it.
I know you can. You can do anything. A furious hillbilly.
A furious hillbilly pumpkin.
You took my shine.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm just putting it into the chat so we have it. Here we go. Hillbilly furious. Okay, furious hillbilly. I don't like it.
Well,
okay.
I know we always say it, like, you know, we're hoping people at home that are watching that are sculpting too. Do we ever get any like some folks that are sculpting at home that are sending in their sculpts as well?
Yeah, we do. We do get them. When somebody does post, we'll throw it. We usually throw it up in the story.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just don't feel like I've seen it. So people need to sculpt.
And they just have to make sure they hashtag us.
Right.
Carvers Creators. Sometimes if you forget to do that, it flies away into space. But yeah, we certainly. I think around Halloween, I think we get a big glut because everyone's trying it. And here in non-pumpkin February, we get a little less, I'm sure, but people still create along with us, right? But, so even if it's a drawing or clay or boom, Ted, we're happy to post it, have it put up, and have some fun with it.
You could start Valentine lanterns. Lanterns.
That's right. Valentine's
carving hearts out of
heart-shaped pumpkins.
something. Yeah, we can have ones for Thanksgiving. We can do St. Patrick's Day. We'll do Arbor Day, whatever. Whatever it is.
Arbor Day.
You just got to do a tree.
That's all. Well, before we get started, we'd like to give everybody a couple minutes to get their stuff together, whether it's their tools, their paints, whatever you're going to do. That gives us a second to go around the horn and see what our carving oil of choice is tonight. Because, the joints, and it's just not with water these days. So everybody has a drink of choice. And on that note, Mr. Haynes, what you got there?
No, that was water.
That was a prop.
I've got a
that was gin
from Humboldt Cider. I've got a it's called Swipe Right.
Ooh,
nice.
Cool.
So,
is that again, Bigfoot on Tinder?
It looks like Bigfoot on Tinder. So it's
cool.
Got 2 cell phones. So I'm gonna try the Swipe Right, Humboldt Cider County.
Wow, that's a cool label. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ted tearing it up with the cans. I feel so pedestrian.
Paul, what are you gonna? Let's jump to you, my friend. What do you got?
I went pedestrian again. I've been very busy lately, and I still had a couple of these delicious little. I'm gonna finish these out. It's like your Model O's.
Yeah, the Mexican Model O's. Yeah,
the Model O. Yeah, it's the Sam Adams Cold Snap. We're going through the opposite of that on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be almost 60 degrees here in lovely Massachusetts.
Really heating up.
Delightful.
I will be in shorts and a t-shirt, stepping over snowbanks.
I'd still have a hoodie on.
Oh,
yeah.
If we're doing weather reports, we had a tornado alert here yesterday.
Holy moly.
In the central coast of California.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been nuts over there.
Yes.
California gets everything. You guys get all the bad weather.
Yeah. Bruce, what are you taking on tonight? You got a little something to enjoy?
I didn't get anything too fancy, but I brought myself an 805 Firestone.
My all-time West Coast favorite beer.
That is the best. That is the 805s are awesome.
I haven't had any yet. It's early. And this is the sculpting oil.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier to talk shit. So
Exactly.
Shoulders don't hurt. Your back ain't killing you.
Yeah.
Better already.
The creativity keeps going. I tried to step up my game. I found one called Halfway. This is not
Halfway to Heaven.
Halfway to Heaven.
Heffen.
So it's fake brewing, German style Hefeweizen. So this is it's a cool looking little cloudy can. I'm a sucker for like really cool labels, and a lot of times you get kind of jinxed. You're like, oh, cool label, terrible beer. What the hell? But hopefully this one's good. But cheers, guys. Here's to a fun
cheers. Matt, did you say you were a sucker for a nice set of cans? So you just
that's good.
You broke up.
Yeah, I am, and yes, and
so stock up on those for.
Those are good.
The visit.
Yeah, Paul's coming out here, so watch out for the Carvers Creators live in the same room thing going on. We'll see.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and then of course we're at Monsterpalooza, and I Bruce, do you go to Monsterpalooza this year?
I used to. I really haven't created too much to have the same table without feeling like a total hack. So I've taken a break from that. Hopefully, Elliot will let me jump back in when I feel like I have a bigger body of work. But you
should just jump right in because we're there.
Yeah, we got no body of work. We're just carving live and geeking out.
That's cool. I love it for the whole, especially in the effects industry. There's so many people in the effects industry that are there that I loved it for the opportunity to just keep a portfolio or two on the table and stay active in the community, or like you run into everybody you ever used to work with. So it just becomes that kind of place to catch up twice a year.
Absolutely. I imagine we get to watch it. Like Paul and I have sat next to Ted the last couple of years in our little booth. We carve live and have copious amounts of fun. We'll just put it that way. And we go to the bar at the end of the night and just get to see who's who and be like, just wow, oh my God, there's Tom Savini, there's XYZ, and just having, it's a guy's weekend for us. But at the same time, we just, we're not out there to make any money or sell anything. We just are total nerds when it comes to the industry and being around all that fun stuff.
Nice. Well, I'm still a nerd about it, but I was always trying to at least, pay for the table and maybe sell a piece.
Yeah. Oh, that part. Yeah.
Well, Matt, to be fair, we did sell off our squashes.
We did, and we sold some tools and a couple little things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the squashes went. The Carvers, as they call them.
Squashes did go. Yeah.
We put them in. We submerge them in tanks of vinegar, and so they'll last as long as they're submerged. So it's different. If you got the guts to carry it around Monsterpalooza, you can have it.
Do you ever have to transport it that way? Do you ever take it on a plane or anything?
I did. The first year, I think Matt brought a couple in a cooler, and because he drove and I flew, so I had a couple in my suitcase. But they had been sort of pickling for just a couple of weeks, so I could pull them out, and put them in a Ziploc bag, and they were fine. We just kept them cool, and then we resubmerged them. They were fine.
Nice.
Yeah. Because they're buoyant, so you have to somehow mount them to the bottom. So you use a suction cup and some thin aluminum armature wire, and you run it through and lock it on.
Kind of anchor them. Yeah.
It works out pretty good. Sometimes. But I'm going to 3D print everything going forward.
Yeah, exactly. None of this carving stuff anymore.
Yeah. This is phenomenal. I see this.
Not only do we get to see this here, but over your left shoulder, I believe is if I'm looking at it right, is the actual suit. So let's take a look at that real quick. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Right on. Let's see. Let me slide it in a little bit. So this was like I do these things. I used to do Burning Man. I liked it a lot, but it's too much now to get to, and it's too expensive and a little too far away. But there's Wasteland Weekend and Neotropolis, which theme-wise were always on point for me to be inspired to build a costume and take what I learned from working in the shops and try to apply that to building a character to wear out at something. So there was Neotropolis, which was by the guys that do Wasteland Weekend, or the same people. And then it's their science fiction cyberpunk theme. And I always wanted to make a spacesuit. So that was my go-to thing for that. With all the things that we've worked in movies, I've never worked on a legit full closed spacesuit. And since movies like even Alien, I've always liked them and always wanted to. From Alien to right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So is that suit, Bruce? So is that like all like I don't know, what would you call it? It's all build up, right? I mean, did you do any molding, casting?
Oh no, it's an entire one-off. So it's like where it's not like a giant one-size kit bash. Actually, I've got some working lights in here.
That's crazy.
So I've got a bar at the bottom and the top. It's captured with magnets. So
oh wow.
This is the helmet. That's a GoPro that I forgot I put there. But yeah, it's a big helmet. And then I covered it with stickers and
of course,
and glow in the dark stars. And
so cool.
But it was a lot of fun to build. And actually, this is when I say life-size kit bash, it's a one-off. So it's like this main globe is a globe from like a park lamp, right?
Okay.
And then so I put it up here, but I wanted to cut it. I didn't want it to be just a full bulb, so I cut it and recessed it. And then these are all pieces off of these turntables that were really cheap that come apart easily and give me lots of circle parts. Mm-hmm. I had acquired this through a shop that primarily just does spacesuit stuff. I worked there once, but they had like a trash bin, and I'm always like, can I take this? Can I take this? And so they let me. The rest is it's foam fabricated, like EVA foam, but it's an L300. And then I sort of made that box shape and gave it wraparound flaps. I very much wanted it to be like a Lego minifigure spacesuit, right? So it would just kind of drop over the top and have the option of the helmet to come off.
Okay.
So I've worn it out there twice. and then I wore it out to a couple of the strike for the Writers Guild and SAG. And the batteries, I have a fan in the helmet, and it's a fan that it's just like the fans that go into the inflatable costumes, like if you're a dinosaur or sumo wrestler.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I put one of those in that back piece, and then I just have it channeled so it flows up and over the top of the helmet and glides over the visor, so it's not going to fog on me or get too hot in there.
So cool.
Wow. Even in LA.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, there's a close up of it. So this is
It's like movie ready. There should be a movie about you wearing this costume.
getting lost and left behind in space, right? This is actually taken by a guy named Preston Yarger, who takes a ton of beautiful photographs. And if any of the Neotropolis Wasteland Weekend people are out there, they're going to be very familiar with his work, because he'll actually create videos for the events too.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's, I remember, like, I know I had said that Bruce and I have known each other for a lot of years now, like 20, maybe, somewhere about there. But I remember one of the first things I saw of yours that you did when you were young, and I'm not sure if you had sent one of the pictures in or you've got it on the deck, but you had done this piece with stilts, these giant
the robot boots.
Feet. It was just bananas. But you've been working with this kind of foam and building these characters for what, 35 years?
Yeah, let's see.
At least.
I started in the business in Northern California, and I started in, I think that at the end of 1992. And I was like an apprentice, everything at Chris Wallace. They brought me in because I was like local, new, fresh, young blood, and totally interested and willing to work for $8 an hour.
Great.
Yeah, hired.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I didn't know you were working with Chris Wallace.
That was my first job. Actually, I've had some good conversations with them at Monster Palooza, and I think like one of the last ones, I was like, "Hey, thank you for putting up with me," because the older I get, the more me's I run into, like effects guys at that age. Like, good God, zero filter and no, sense of any kind of barriers. Just ask whatever.
Yeah.
Just say whatever. Oh, nobody asked my opinion, but here's my opinion.
Oh, I've never known you to be opinionated, Bruce.
Yeah, well, I come with opinions. Everybody learns that. I'm very opinionated.
No, Bruce and I started working together back at Steve Johnson's on, I believe it was Scooby-Doo 2, doing the Black Knight. So I remember somebody showing me your book or whatever like that, and it's like, yeah, great. Somebody who knows what they're doing. This would be perfect. So,
well, speaking of. Sorry, I was going to say, speaking of that, Ted, we got a series here of eyeballs. I know, Ted, you do eyeballs as well, but I just am enamored by the process, because we're going to go through a few pictures here that show kind of this. I know it looks like they look like steps, but I think we've got a couple different ones here. But
yeah, and these are like how to do them very cheaply. There's guys that make incredible eyeballs, and I don't want to throw this up and go look at what I made, but this is a great way to do it at home.
Okay. So painting a sphere, and then you've got it in another sphere.
Yeah.
And then is that then filled with resin after the fact?
Oh, these are different. This is a tray of eyeballs that I just have. I was cracking up because I go through my little drawers of stuff, and I've got
here's a tray of eyeballs,
screws, and this, and then, but tray of eyeballs, yeah.
Wow, you don't have one, Matt?
Mine are actual real eyeballs.
Oh, that's good.
Nice. Kind of gross now, but yeah, no, I love that. So I imagine, if you kind of take a look behind Bruce, and I'll zoom in on you. Right? I mean,
yeah.
He's got like literally everything on his walls and everything behind. Like, cool. You would imagine a mass over a whole long time, but therefore a tray of eyeballs would just obviously be, you have
Absolutely.
to have.
You got to.
That's right there.
A lot of the stuff I have, it's like I know what I'm more known for is creating these kind of masks that have the magnetic attachments, and they're one-offs. And I've been in gallery shows, and then those are what I usually take and sell at Monsterpalooza. I've done really well at Monsterpalooza with these, and I've got repeat patrons. I've got a couple of guys that own like upwards of 3, and then one guy that owns 5 of my pieces.
Oh wow!
I'm not going to go, oh, this is my patron, but I'm really proud of who owns them.
Oh, I bet.
Because they're people I consider as like, oh, you've got artistic standards and expectations, and you're a repeat customer, so I'm proud of that. But a lot of these are also, they're all that kind of post-work flex. Like we spend the best years of our life and the days of our lives making these things for other shows that a lot of times really suck. It's the opinionated side, right? But it's we work our asses off under the standards of people that really are only kind of half interested in the notion because it's their job, that production. And I don't mean the people I'm working with. I mean more like the producers or the filmmakers. You can tell when they're frauds, and you can tell when they're just kind of making a movie and not really like sci-fi nerds.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can tell when there's a movie that's just kind of like using the trim to try to be flashy, and then there's the movies that are really good that don't have as much that do well with less.
Okay.
Or there's if you're lucky enough, you're working on the ones that are made by the people that care, and it's the big budget version. So there's that kind of innovation money hose on the project sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. But you talk about innovation. I some of these things that you've shared with us are amazing, and I love the kind of the walkthrough to this. Tell us about these pieces, because I want to own these. I want to have these like up on my house.
Let me pull that one down. It's up here. That one's I didn't create the character, but my kids asked me about him, and they're all, Dad, his name's Siren Head, and he's a character by a guy named Trevor Henderson, who's a really awesome creepypasta artist. And if you don't know his work, you should look it up. But just look up Trevor Henderson. He's got all these different characters, and I think the big ones are it's not the dead horse, but it's like the Siren Head's one of them. But my kids had asked me if he's real, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like 9 and 7 at the time, and then they had heard stories of Siren Head, and I had to look it up, and then it comes with a lot of fan art and fan lore. So really fascinating, and it looks like a Clive Barker sort of Bixinski sort of character, but totally it looks like a desiccated, like what would you call it, like homunculus, but now it's got sirens for a mouth and elongated arms. But every now and then if there's something I'm really intrigued by, I get off of my I don't make other people's stuff, I just make my own. If I like it enough, I'll make it. Let me grab it.
You know what I like about it too is it looks like something you would see in Pink Floyd, like the wall.
That's what
feel to it. But they also have that lamp that has the cones, the adjustable arms, like a cheapo lamp you can get that holds like 4 bulbs. I would want to redo a lamp. Oh yeah, see, it's small. That was huge.
Yeah, it's big.
Holy shit! Well, so I was only seeing the head.
I mean, wow. It's about I'd say he's like 2 feet tall, but it was also just really fun to get in there, and a lot of the lore has been being kind of electrical, so it's got this sort of corpse scarecrow attributes.
Oh my god! And the skin that's just hanging off him with the
I wanted it to look like desiccated, almost like when you used to walk to school when I was a kid, and there was always somewhere along the way there was roadkill. And then you just sort of see what happens with the roadkill a little bit more each day. And this is a few weeks. So this is a few weeks in, but it's got that look.
See, now, I don't know if this is the kind of stuff that you had always done, Bruce, but I remember seeing this when we worked together at Legacy, like maybe a good 10 years ago or so, when you really started doing these robot models or figures and stuff like that. Because I know when we first started working together, I didn't remember seeing that, but then you just went full into doing these like really great 2 foot tall, kid bashed characters. Are just fantastic.
Thank you.
And then creating stories with them as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I still got I think I've got this robot cowboy character up there. And that's what these are also the kind of pieces that I I'll put on the table, but they're not really for sale. If somebody was really serious and they wanted to talk prices, I'd let it go. But I've got my own attachment to a lot of my work, where I don't really want to let it go. They're not only just little diary pieces, but they're like a creative flex plus the imagination time that you get into it. So I feel like too often they're the source material for this like imaginary story or a story that has yet to be told that I don't really want to part with yet. So I keep it.
You can keep developing it by looking at it and getting inspired by it all the time.
There's let's say, I mean, right now it's like this. I'm in my living room, so right in front of me, this is one desk that's above my computer. I've got a bunch of kit bash spaceships, some masks, and then this is where I've been refining my figures. Like this is, and these are the guys that I've kept a long time. Let's see, but this guy is all super sculpty.
Oh yeah, sorry,
it's supposed to be
started carving him.
Yeah, so he's all cooked up, but then after a while, it was like there's just little bits about his stance that I figured I could correct, and a lot of the characters I build at the proportion of a guy in a suit. So where it's like if this was a manga character, I'd give him a lot more lean figure and do the shorter torso. But too often when we make suits, you're trying to make your suit look good, you're building on top of somebody's form, and it's so tough to bulk them out without making them look bulky. And then you're trying to get superhero form to somebody that's maybe not the most physically fit specimen. So it's just you're taking the average build and then decorating it or building on top. So I've got this guy and two others about this size that I'm refining, cutting them off their bases, but I'm trying to get to the point where I'm going to be molding those and casting them and see what I can get for them. You can do like short runs, a little bit of a prep, pre-sale style stuff. I've got friends that do that, and I'm always pretty fascinated with what they're able to not just get out there, but some sort of like a secondary kind of occupation. I think a lot of us are looking for that kind of thing. Like, well, how do I make my creative endeavors work for me? Like for myself, I and some other friends, I feel like, well, how do I not rely on studios to have my source of income? How do I really put my own work out there?
It's the side hustle with a creative outlet at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And this last year's been with the strike, it's been more brutal than the pandemic was.
Really?
Yeah, the pandemic, everybody decided, okay, we can work around it if we approach it like this. Take the precautions that everybody felt were safe and then go from there. But this one's been like, nope, labor strike, can't work.
Wow.
So it's been hard.
Wow.
So here's another costume. This was one I did for it's a ball. It's called the Labyrinth of Jared. And I had never gone to it before, but you have to have a costume, and it's a very costume centric thing. There's beautiful costumes there. So I took an old suit and, about 30 sticks of hot glue and some manzanita branches and pearlescent acrylics, and I just made this outfit, but I made it in under a week.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow.
I do like the challenge of that kind of stuff. Often it's like, okay, these are the materials I have, and this is the time you're allotted. What do you got? What can you come up with?
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And those are always kind of the fun challenges, like when we worked at Legacy, and Bruce and I did a lot of TV commercials as well. And I mean, Legacy is known for doing not only huge feature films, Iron Man and all that kind of stuff, but then commercials where we would have one of our bosses come up to us and go, hey, we got this thing. It's a robot. It's this or that. It's due on set next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, there's hardly time to 3D print anything hard. And, usually you and I would, tag team and start bashing stuff together and zip tying this together, or, plastic and spray paint and just kooky stuff. And,
and when you're given the opportunity to use, like they have a catalog of molds from existing stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's obviously from a particular franchise, but then you have a lot of in between stuff that's like, you can't identify what it's originally from, or it will be used on either, any of them. So when we get to use those as like assets and then start to like cast them out of like whatever we choose and slam them together, I always really liked and valued the time when everybody kind of had to get out of our way and let us get it done. Because if they don't, there's too much of that. Like, well, I think it needs to be a little more like this.
The micromanaging.
Yeah, if it's a hard deadline, you're like, no, just get out of my way.
Everybody's just like everybody starts off in a panic and they just really hope that you're the guy that can do it. So it's like, no, do whatever you need to do. And then that I like that. There's a lot of freedom in that job, but there's a lot of stress too. The time. Well,
sometimes some of those 1 week jobs were some of the most rewarding because I mean, like the spacesuit behind you, that could have been one of them. That could have been.
This was only 2 days,
right? So it's like we need something. See, that's a horrible thing with us saying it's like I did this in 2 days. So then everybody wants it done in 2 days.
No, I am totally kidding. This took me 2 months to make.
Right. So. But you throw 10 people at it, you could do that in 2 days.
Yeah,
you could, but they'd murder it because nobody would know. You wouldn't.
Right.
You'd need like 2 guys just on overtime, paid well and responsibly, like a good employer should, and meals provided, calls to the family to explain that what you're doing is important.
Right.
It's really important. This robot we're making
really important
for
that this
AT&T or
the hamburger commercial. Exactly.
It's for the new Ozempic commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
I still got this one too. It's above me here. And I
love that.
His masks. I mean, I'm so enamored. We're going to show a couple pictures of him in a second.
Oh, go for it.
I love those things.
So that one that's this guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's one.
Yeah.
If it's just it's supposed to be this here. Now this guy comes off. Here's the other thing that most of my masks do is they exhibit some sort of, I call it dynamic function.
Okay.
But you can see where it's stuck to the paint as it was fresh. And
okay.
But then these go down.
This magnet.
I love how it just snaps in because of the magnets. It sounds awesome.
So cool.
I love it.
You should take that to paintball and you scare everybody to death.
What? Hell no. They'd be aiming for that.
I did. That's all by hand, and I made a paper template, and then it's a magic sculpt. But mechanically, I can kind of make. I'm not a mechanic, but I understand a lot of mechanic principles, so I'm able to make it work. And it's also this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 pieces to make these goggles. So where the angles aren't totally true, the flexibility in that shape allows the travel to capture to form. So its true point of capture is actually down over the goggle where the visor. This is where the shape needs to be the most accurate.
Yeah.
And then its top point has to be somewhere in between. But yeah, I personally, I've always loved that kind of the characters that either get ready for a thing and it's that montage of preparation, or when it's a moment of character reveal. Right. So a guy, a girl walks in and they've got a mask covering it. They're totally mysterious and they start to take their stuff off and you can see who they are. I think like when you first see Khan in Wrath of Khan, he's got a really good classic reveal, but it's that kind of thing where you take the stuff off and totally unveiling this mysterious figure. I think it's a great part of film and something I was always attracted to try to emulate.
This piece too, and it's like all your other pieces, like the one over your right shoulder. I just want everybody to know, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce, but like the piece that you're putting away right now, that's not built on an existing helmet. That's 100% sculpted.
Yeah, it is.
So I mean, that imagery that you're seeing and everything like that, that's all, hand sculpted. That's not just over, and the goggles are 100%, custom sculpted.
Open command. I'll take barrier clay. It's a clean clay or CK2 or whatever they call it now. But I build up the approximate shape in clean clay, and then I lay out. This was made out of Magic Sculpt, but I also use Abe's Epoxy Sculpt. Or even Propoxy 20. A lot of times I use that too. But this is all that it's a buildup, and then the outside is all filed and sanded and just smoothed out until you get that finish that looks like it's manufactured. So
it was always
a lot
fun
of stuff I
when
do
Bruce and I
plus.
were at Legacy. I'd watch Bruce work, and we'd get our 15-minute break in the morning and our lunch break and our 15 minutes. And it's like all of a sudden he'd put aside his thing he's working on, whether Captain America or Iron Man or something, and then out came this other helmet that he started sanding and polishing. And 15 minutes, he put it back away and pull, whatever else back that he's supposed to be working on. It was always funny. You always had something that you were working under your table that you would just pull out. And
yeah, I still do that. I'd like to. I mean, I love the jobs I work on, but we'll spend like so much money and materials. And that's the blessing of having a budget to get creative with. But it's like I've got the budget for what they might have for chip brushes on a movie, right? So just trying to make it work with the resourcefulness. A lot of this, the thing that I do cherish is a lot of the times that we're working on these shows, it kind of becomes my practice time and new materials. So maybe I'll explore those later.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got, I mean, it's a good chance to see this statically, but thank goodness we get to see what you just showed us, because it's so much more dynamic. This, without showing us the pieces that move like that. What do you call them?
I needed to come. It's funny. I did the Stan Winston School. I did a video for them, and I needed to come up with a name of what I called it. But I called it wearable dynamic art. Again, it's like a conceptual executioner. If I just wrote, it's a helmet.
It moves. It moves a little bit.
I needed some fake highbrow in that. So it's like wearable dynamic art. So
I love these guys. They're so like symmetrically beautiful. I mean, and the paint jobs are crazy. I can see wearing this and just waking up my kids every morning. It's time to go to school, kids.
I wanted to make this like a Japanese mempo. This is the mask that samurai would wear under their helmets.
Right.
But I was kind of messing around with the lines. It's not anything based off traditional images, but I kept trying to capture this face. And then it took a long time to realize that it's definitely mempo in its proportions, but it's the face from the animated who's the one that looks in the mirror? What's the it's the Snow White, or is that
yeah.
mirror on the wall.
It looks like
the animated mirror on the wall, the Disney one.
Yeah, totally.
Snowderella.
Awesome.
So amazing. Yeah, I love those. So those are examples of stuff we would sell at Monsterpalooza.
Sure, or just on the side. Those are also fiberglass castings, so it's like they're really durable. I had sculpted those out of Chavant NSP, and then there's a guy, Javier Contreras, who used to make molds for me. He was working at Legacy at the time, and then he would just, as a side job, go ahead and do those up for me.
Oh wow!
This was fiberglass over clean clay. I saw a guy that I was working with at KMB at the time did a mock-up for John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars. Scott Patton did this thing, and he took like clean clay, sculpted a helmet, did fiberglass over the top of it, broke that off, used some more fiberglass to attach it, and made the rough for a concept model. And I really liked the way he just was able to crank out one-offs to do this kind of thing. So I kind of tried to steal that style for a few masks I did. I did 3 at a time like this, but this one I used a lot of cable just to make this sort of hair and then a top knot.
Yeah, so amazing.
Thanks.
These are one-offs, so these aren't like cast and duplicated.
They're all kind of one-offs. The thing is, if somebody really wanted to, it's not a problem, especially with one of the finished fiberglass piece or an epoxy piece, to go ahead and duplicate them.
Right.
This is another one that I did because somebody at Monsterpalooza, there was a guy who used to come along and he's like, "I'd love to buy your work. You know what? Have you ever thought of doing a plague doctor?" I was like, "No, I haven't." Guy who comes here every year. And so it's like I went and made a plague doctor. And then that Monsterpalooza, that was a son of, the guy didn't buy it.
What?
Oh, nuts.
It was like, no, it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I wasn't gonna, I also didn't say, but you said, and I just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I took it to an art show at the Copro Gallery and sold it there.
Oh, okay. You just didn't have the right buyer. That's all.
It's fun. I was really happy with the stitching of the lower half is leather.
It is
And then
beautiful. Yeah.
use the stitching to make it almost kind of look like cartoon teeth. There was something.
Oh, yeah.
The Plague Doctor. It's almost more like the way you would do dead eyes, but it looked like a stitched mouth too.
So
and then
cool.
the goggles here flip up and they're captured by a magnet as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Got to have the magnets.
I know, man. It's such a cool touch.
This
makes it feel real. Like if the world goes to shit and you're in the apocalypse, you want one of these because it's functional.
You'll look good until
you will look the part. People will run for the hills. They'll give you their water.
Yeah.
That's
Every now and then people go, "Can I wear this on a motorcycle?" I was like, "Well, how good are you at riding motorcycles?" You know,
do you like to see why we're?
I mean, if they're not DOT approved,
you can wear it running a table saw, but I'm not going to say it ends well.
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody said, "Could you get hit in the face with one of these?" It's like, can you get hit in the face now? You know,
How about without it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can get hit in the face with this once. I don't think it's going to survive, but
so funny.
Or there's times at work, well, we'll be working on something and make a suit, and they'll go, "Can we light this on fire?" And my first answer is always, "Yeah, once."
Yeah, you can do anything.
And this is ZBrush. I keep flirting with ZBrush, but I never really get totally into it. And I do enjoy it, but then I'll end up using too much time will go by, and I forget how to use the AI, and it fucking pisses me off.
Oh yeah.
And I'm right next to the stuff I would be working on by myself, by hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I get, I've gotten into it with people about it who are like, "You should use ZBrush. You should use ZBrush." I was like, you know what if you were good at the violin? And somebody always said, "You should play the keyboard." It makes violin noises. You could play the keyboard. It can make any.
I love that's a great analogy. Oh my god, that's great. Yeah.
I don't know. Jasper checked in. Hey Jasper, and he's a ZBrush master. I'll bet he's the guy that goes, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
He is good, but it's like him and then another guy we used to work with, James, stuck with it. I need a thing that it's like this never comes up where it's like, "Hey Bruce, we want you to work on ZBrush for a month." So I get about this far into it where I'm making things, and then I go, I'm paid to do other things, and it becomes the thing I have to, go out of my way to give time to. And by the time it's there, I'd rather just do what I prefer, or just natural media. Yeah. I see the relevance. I would not argue with any of that. It's got great results for those that can use it. And I know that if I put the fucking time into it, I could play the keyboard too.
Yeah, this one here, it says, "Hey, I'm about to kill your family with a ceremonial knife in a black room somehow." I mean, like,
and you will thank us for it.
And you will thank us. Yeah, you will give us your money to do it. Yeah.
I still got this one. I called it the Crucible at the time. And what I was really proud of is this face plate flips up. And there's magnets, of course, that kind of help keep it in an upward position. And then you can knock it back down. And it's resin cast in fiberglass. Again, Javier made a mold for me. It's 3 parts. But what I was really proud of is I did the drill bit by hand, but I kind of looked at it from the side, and I had it lined up to where I was looking at other points of the helmet that were pretty true. And I got it one side and then the other, and then carried it through, and it flipped up at the angle it needed to be in position up at top and close. So I got lucky.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I did want this to be the kind of helmet that if somebody said, "Hey, we need 20 helmets for a season or an episode of Game of Thrones," I was like, this would have been a good one.
I got it. That's your guy. Yeah. This right out of that. That's perfect.
Oh, this is the one I ended up making my sticker out of too. So usually when you see this one, it's the first mask I made that had this kind of magnet symbols and arrangement where you could reveal different portions. Mouthpiece it's just open, so I could drink or smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke at the time, so it was fun at parties. This is Aaron.
Bruce disappeared.
I did. It's for a reason.
No, he has an invisible mask. He's wearing that.
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Hey, at least I got pants on, right?
That's right.
I was gonna go pull up one of my stickers, but I think you got somewhere in that'll have it's kind of like my moniker. It says Bruce D. Mitchell, conceptual executioner. And
Yeah,
then
it's your
there's a
Instagram.
black
Isn't it your Instagram sticker too, right?
Yeah. And that one's just off a work table image. Like I'll put them on everything. I've got them in different sizes, so I'll put them on my batteries as well, like cordless drill batteries.
Oh yeah.
This is for Wasteland Weekend, and this is
so cool.
Thanks. That base suit. Yeah, it's a Russian pressure suit, like a flight suit, and I bought it out there from somebody who had a surplus store in I want to say Lancaster or Palmdale, but they had a table out there. So this was kind of all done up to look that way. I did if you know anything about these suits, you can see on the arms and up the side of the chest that there's you tie it in, and it was made to be like, we have what we call speed jeans that lock in with air. So there's tubes down this that have air that lock up into it, and then you tie it tight. And the whole reason is when you're pulling high G's in a jet, the blood very easily leaves your head, right? Yeah. So you lose the blood to your head and you pass out. So you go into G lock. So there's all these like crazy old school analog apparatus that were all about trying to make it so that the suit was tight enough to keep the blood in your head and keep you conscious during the extremes of a dogfight. And I was just found that stuff's wild. So to be able to buy something like that at a surplus store, take it home, paint it, and add shit to it is just kind of it's sort of very entertaining.
Oh my God.
Oh, also that was from our adversary. This is from the Cold War era, USSR.
Right.
So it's Soviet technology. So, I grew up with Firefox and all that. So, to have like, this is our sworn enemies of the time when I was a kid.
Red Dawn. Yeah, all those.
I'm buying their shit at a garage sale to take to a party that I'm going to get blasted at.
Yeah, exactly.
This is another. This mask is I forget what I called it, but it was one, again, there's a lot of these that I make with manzanita branches. I'm from Northern California, and manzanita is it's a scrub brush you'll have in the Sierra foothills. Mm-hmm. And it's all over. It's very native to California, but they're really strong branches. And even when they get tiny, they're really rigid. This I like to try to use them for hair. And it started out like, if you go through all the different pictures, there's some experimental ones where you can see it was just thicker branches and kind of sparse. Mm-hmm. But the more I got into trying to do this technique, the more I would, when I'm placing the branches in, I try to work against a white wall so I can see the silhouette of it. And I'm always trying to put in so many branches that you don't see the silhouette of the underlying sculpture.
Oh, okay.
So there's some. This is the one where I got the most purposeful with the layout of it.
Wow. All the thought that goes into, like, I mean, again, it's just mind-boggling because you're using, found stuff, but then the arrangement and the thought that goes into it is, makes it even more meaningful. It's so cool.
Thank you. This is that same sculpture that was just there before the branches go on. So this is in its more raw state.
Yeah, before and after.
Yeah. So this would be like, go back to that other one. You can see there's Sharpie lines on there. So as I start to get all this texture, and I kind of treat the Dremel across the epoxy like you would if you were doing hash marks and cross hatching or shading, and as if you were drawing the piece. So I'll use that kind of pattern work to find more of the face, and then I'll use a second pass with a Sharpie and just try to get more defined where I want these ridges and breaks to occur, or where I want it to look more like it's made of wood or something.
Right. And then here's okay. I can kind of see it up in the after there. Right.
So then also what you're seeing in that finished one is like, because I wanted this to look like she was like a fae character, fairy folk. And I wanted to buff out sort of the brow and across the cheek and the nose and the top upper lip there.
Oh, I love it.
And it's got a lot of pearls. I like using a lot of pearlescence in my personal pieces that makes them look way more theatrical. It looks like to me, these are characters that I could see being in a Terry Gilliam movie, right? It's a big influence on me visually is Terry Gilliam movies. This is my booth at Monster Palooza.
Oh my gosh.
So this is just one of them.
Similar to one of the characters you were showing earlier that you were working on, right?
Yeah. The cowboy.
Oh no, but it's got all the same. I mean, it's that thing where it's like you're an artist and you've got the style. I mean, I've got both of these sculptures and then that robot looking mask I've got here still because there's castings of that one.
Okay.
I love that piece, Bruce. I remember that one that was down low, the kind of the really dynamic.
Yeah.
That whole piece is just amazing because I don't know if we've got a picture. Go troll on Bruce's Instagram too, but there's so much motion to it. Like the way you can see her like definitely sliding in, and I think she's got like these wings or something. Or
yeah, they're totally kit bashed wings, and it was the most I ever kit bashed along with a figure. That's one of the ones I'm going to polish up for a show later this year. It's a goal to have like the body of work for a show.
Well, I hate to say it, Paul, but we're almost at the end of the show, and there's like we have a bunch more pictures to show of yours, Bruce. I'm going to rifle through them because I don't want to leave people not being able to take a look at some of these things because they're
that was an hour. That was really fast.
I know, dude. I told you it goes by incredibly fast. But this is a fun one.
I'm a singer too. No, this is another look at Neotropolis. So real quickly, this guy, that look right there is looking for this guy. So in the daytime, I'm the astronaut. In the nighttime, I'm this corporal cop. That's looking for whatever he stole. And it's led to so many shenanigans. And a lot of people do not put together that I'm the same guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That is fantastic. And I'm sure some of them might be of the mental state that they can't possibly put two and two together.
No. And I'm a complete ass when I dress like this guy here with the white
hair. Good. You're getting
belligerent.
Gotta sell it.
Yeah.
Masks that are just insane. I love the way the horns fold into the form of the head so perfectly.
Thank you.
So good. Mask again. This is part of that other series that I recall from the Kabuki-ish one.
Yeah, this is also a casting made about the same time. So I've got fiberglass castings of that. The skull was way more popular. And it's I mean, really cross-culturally, you can do more.
Yeah, everyone loves skulls. Yeah, it's like universally favorite a skull. I love skulls.
Yeah.
And I think this guy, I think you and I talked. Was this the one you were kind of working on as well?
Yeah, I'm redoing that one. And it got to where I was like looking at it and having to bulk it out. But this is when I had started. I think I started this during the pandemic.
Okay.
But I'm getting more into.
Wow.
It's super sculpey and firm super sculpey mixed together. And then I cooked it up, but I've just been sort of filing in all the lines. I cut him off of his base because he's solid enough now. But he's got hands and everything. But this is supposed to be a different version of that cowboy robot character.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. It's fun to see it in this state and then see what you just showed us. That's that progress is like, for a person who like loves to block and then finally sees it. To see that and then that progress is awesome.
Thanks. The one in the background there is where I was the happiest with that figure, but that's the one that's about 2.5 feet tall.
Okay. And that's the one you had at Monster Palooza?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Couple more.
This is Wasteland Weekend again, but I made this vest that went out there. And the guy in the other is also another guy that we work with a lot. This is Jesse Gee. He's in the green helmet. But then I had made this leather vest, and I put pictures on Facebook, and then they ended up on Pinterest.
Oh,
there's a whole bunch of stuff that I never put on Pinterest that is all over Pinterest. But
do they credit you at least?
No, not at all.
No.
Every now and then. But this was a really fun thing to make. And again, that's like I say, Wasteland Weekend just becomes this ground for experimental costume ideas.
Sounds amazing.
It does.
It's fun. It's
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And again, this is another guy that was done up with a Manzanita Bruce. This is really hard light, but kind of liked it because I wasn't done painting it. This one also in Spectrum, the fantasy art book, or it's a fantasy art annual. I haven't entered it in a long time, but I've been in it 7 times, and I've always been really proud of getting into that. That's because there's a lot of artists that I look up to that are in it, and it's got the judges change; they're different every year. So, and they've got categories.
This is like the Green Knight look to it to me.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guess what? This is on Pinterest. Now that is the Holly King. He's sort of like the antithesis to the Green Man, where the Green Man's all about life and spring and rebirth.
Right.
The Holly King is sort of the winter version, where it's all about it's death and hibernation and going into like stasis. So everybody always celebrates the Green Man, but I wanted to do the more spooky one.
Yeah, he's got a cousin, just like Mr. Iceman and Mr. Summer,
Heat Miser, right?
Heat Miser and Mr. Yeah, that's the one I couldn't think. Thank you. Yeah,
there you go.
There's a great shot too.
Yeah.
And this is where you can find Bruce. And we're gonna, before we go, Paul. I mean, I got very little done on my little guy. I've started to kind of create what I think is more of like a I don't know. Let's see if I can zoom in on mine real quick. Possibly. Let's see if I can get that. Okay. So this is really even hard to see, but because I'm working with my last pumpkin. He's kind of round face, so I'm going to make this guy a fat hillbilly. In his mouth, I haven't figured out what kind of goofy teeth he's going to have, so it looks a little stupid. But yeah, that's kind of he's furious, right? Yeah.
You know who else is furious? Me, that you have a pumpkin in February.
Oh, I know. Let's see what you got. Oh, look at that.
You know how Arizona works with agriculture, but apparently you grow pumpkins year round. Still blocking.
Oh yeah, you can see the furiousness.
But
that's awesome. I'm always impressed with what you guys do with this as your medium. And it's like you've done it enough to where you know the fibers and the folds, and you treat it like carpentry. But it's always impressive to see what people will choose for their medium.
Yeah, I like clay too, but this one seems to be the thing that I can get together with a bunch of guys and drink a couple beers. Not sure why that is, but it works.
Yeah. I'm sure you could probably do it with clay too.
Yeah, Ted, it would be more like Ghost though. Holy crap,
dude,
Ted.
This is not fair.
So he's a little bit flat, so I'm gonna build out the back a little bit, which is great to do. Doing foam, you can actually, add on.
Yeah, you can add,
and then it's a little short, so I'm gonna probably resculpt the nose separately and put that on, but still keeping in theme that it's a pumpkin. What do we? It's a flustered hillbilly.
Yeah,
but he is
furious.
Yeah, furious. And I'm going to give him a corncob pipe. Stick.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
That type of thing.
You're going to have a whole pumpkin patch by the time.
Yeah, you are.
Well, I need stuff for my for Monsterpalooza, since Bruce isn't going to have a booth this year. I have 2 booths. So
there we go.
He took Bruce's booth.
Thanks. And they'll be filled with foam pumpkins.
Like I said, this is where you can find Bruce, and then Paul. Right? I think this is where you can find us.
Yeah. Is there anywhere else we can find? I mean, I know you're on Stan Winston School. You could take that class and.
Sure. I still get residuals from that, so it's like I know people are still taking it. And this image, it's got sort of the red stripe on the gold face.
Yeah,
that is the mask that we make in the video, and it's a total pleasure to work with those guys. I'd love to do it again.
That's outstanding.
Oh, but you can find me on Facebook too. If you look up Conceptual Executioner or Bruce D. Mitchell, you can find me. If you look up Bruce Mitchell, you're going to find a guy that's like an alligator hunter. He's got curly hair and he's always in denim overalls, and I wouldn't want to wrestle him for that name, but I'll put the D in mind.
Next week on the show, alligator wrestler Bruce Mitchell.
Yeah, not to be confused with Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And this is where you can find us, right,
That's
Paul?
us.
All the socials, all
That's
the
the
little
stuff.
silly things.
Yep, that's it. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a blast. It flew by. And
Yeah, it did.
like with everybody, we have a good time seeing all their amazing work. We'd love to have you back.
Hey, I'd love to come back. So go ahead and hit me up anytime. Give me a couple weeks warning, and then yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
If you guys look me up creatively, if any of the creators out there have any questions on my work, I don't treat it like voodoo. If there's something you're interested in and you want to know even just how to make it, I'll share that with you. So
I love it.
And that's why we love hanging out with artists like yourself, because it's so cool to be able to, number one, enjoy what you do, and then have you be able to offer it back and say, I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what a good artist community is. And we appreciate artists like yourself. So for Matt, Ted, Bruce, and myself, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you again next time on another Carvers and Creators. So good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Bruce. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, Bruce.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, everybody.